how anyone can do what they did to someone who's so frail, and she's, what, 2 years older now than she was at the time she was a victim.
What struck me was when I spoke to her, she was a small girl, and I was quite surprised that she was actually 16 now. How a middle-aged man at almost 40 could form that relationship is something that you could never really understand.
Well, the issues were paramount to me coming, and I'd never really thought about it. My career was all drugs and organised crime. But the 10 days that I've been here and what I've seen and what I've been told, it really is appalling what dirty old men and not so old men do to young girls. It really breaks your heart.
Michelle's elder sister, Marisol, informed police that Gonzalo was holding Michelle against her will. Gonzalo's social media page then prompted the investigation that led to his arrest, providing graphic evidence of his relationship with her.
During our surveillance, we ascertained that the room occupied by Marcus was in the second floor.
Yes.
One of my colleagues forced the door open. Michelle and Mark Gonzalo were inside. We asked him what Michelle was doing there. And Mark told us that Michelle was his wife. He intended to marry her. We told him that it's impossible,
So what's the current status of the charge against Mark?
It's archived because Marcus cannot be found.
So it's still pending?
Pending.
If he's still in the Philippines and you find him, you'd arrest him?
We arrest him. Let's hope that he'll come back.
Yeah.
The trail is 2 years old. The only contact we've had is through Michelle, having contact with him via Facebook. Now, what he tells her on Facebook and the truth of the matter could be, I would say, are probably wide apart. He's made reference to being in Vietnam, being on an island with a typhoon in nearby, being in Australia. He could be anywhere.
Like Michelle, Marisol has also been exploited by foreign men when she worked in Subic Bay's sex bars. She left her job as a dancer a few months ago and now works in the Prada laundry.
Yeah, you're the one to go to the authorities with alerting them to Michelle. Is that correct, diba?
Yes.
Yeah, bakit?
Kasi nga, nagalit ako kay Marcos. Nakuha yung ka-virginan ni Michelle, binayad 10%. Tapos ang binayad lang mga damit. Ang pangangailangan ni Michelle sa school niya, sinuportahan. Susuportahan niya si Michelle sa pag-aaral. Lahat ng pangangailangan ni Michelle.
Who in your family did Marcos make that promise to?
Nag-promise sila, Mama.
I also believe you withdrew your complaint in the court case involving Mr. Marcos.
Makaawa na si Mama.
Do you know why your mother asked you to recant?
Alam mo ba daw bakit pinawi-withdraw ni Mama mo yung case? She doesn't know.
How do you know Mr. Mark Gonzalo?
Dun sa kaibigan siya ng dati kong foreigner.
What's the name of your former boyfriend? Who is your former boyfriend?
Torn. Former boyfriend is Torn.
Norway.
Huh?
Norway siya.
From Norway.
Nasuportahan niya ako sa pag-aaral.
Huh?
Nasuportahan niya ako sa
Torn Northway was one of the many foreigners that patronised Boyd's Bar, above which Marcos Gonzalo lived. Marisol alleges that Torn sexually abused her from the ages of 11 till 16. He was a close friend of Marcos Gonzalo's and introduced him to Michelle, Marisol's sister. When Michelle was rescued from Gonzalo, she was put into Prada's care. She now lives back home, but is kept an eye on by Marlene, a Prada social worker. who was herself once rescued as a child by Father Shay. Dave and Chris have come to gather more evidence from Michelle. They know her mother knew Gonzalo well, but decide not to question her at this time. They start by examining the gifts Gonzalo gave to Michelle.
These two are Australian. Right. I can see them. That's an Australian compliance thing. Can you confirm that these are the clothes and that this is the bag that he brought for you from Australia? Michelle, these are the original letters, the original ones that Marcos wrote to you? Yes.
Most incriminating is a collection of explicit love letters Gonzalo sent Michelle from prison before he was bailed and disappeared.
If these letters had been written in an Australian prison to a witness in an Australian jurisdiction, that some form of offence for trying to interfere or intimidate the witness would be liable for that. There's constant reference to the fact that he's almost begging her to withdraw her affidavit so that she and he can go free and resume the relationship that they've been in. There's nothing in those letters to suggest where he would currently be or where he has been in Australia, where he lived, his past life. There's just nothing of that nature.
He doesn't leave too many clues, does he? As to his background, eh?
That's worrying because it would indicate to me that he's not just a middle-aged man who's stupidly fallen in love with a young girl. He's a serious abuser.
Marisol led the police to Gonzalo. She now wants to help the Australian investigators rescue other young girls.
We're heading to the township of Subic, taking Marisol there. She's going to show us some things up there. She used to work, poor young thing, in two bars there, the Miami Bar and the Crow Bar. Apparently are both houses of ill repute and allegedly employ underage girls.
Miami shelter.
Alam mo ba kung may nagtatrabaho sa Miami? Na minor?
Oo.
Paano mo sila nakilala?
Dati kung kasaman sa barkada ko dati yun.
Those minor who are working in Miami.
Hazel, Hazel Leia. Tapos nakalimutan ko ibang pangalan. Nasa 16 yun.
Hazel is 16 years old.
Leia,
Leia.
Magsi-16.
What was the salary? How much did you got paid by, what, drinks?
Magkano daw yung sweldo mo?
100.
Her salary in Miami is 100 pesos.
A day?
A day daw yun.
That evening, the men head to the Crow Bar. They want to identify the underage girls named by Marisol in the hope of a later raid and rescue mission. Their strategy is to elicit information about the girls and the bar owner from its mama-san. They soon spot Princess and Jen, who are both aged 15, and discover that the owner is an American called Arthur Benjamin, who recently bought the bar and renamed it after his girlfriend, Avila, who the mama-san says is only 14. In the Miami bar across the road, the men again pose as tourists and find all the girls working there are underage, some as young as 13.
In the Miami, we saw two young girls, and they were clearly no older than 13, I would say. They were prepubescent. A guy turned up who we were told later was a colonel in the Philippine National Police. He walked right past the girls, as a matter of fact, and he was there with the owner and a solicitor, and no idea what that was about. But these bars are operating openly in a country where it's illegal for anyone under 18 to work in them, and in a country where